EU and Japanese leaders have agreed to strengthen their partnership in the wake of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen, accompanied by European Council President Charles Michel, held talks with Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida in Tokyo. The sides also agreed on a new digital partnership which will, among other things, focus on improving the global supply of crucial semi-conductors. Later, addressing a joint press conference, the leaders spoke of stepping up sanctions against Russia and greater cooperation.
Russia's invasion of Ukraine shakes the foundations of the international order, not only in Europe, but also in Asia. And this is absolutely unacceptable. In cooperation with the G7, including the EU, Japan will implement strong sanctions against Russia and strengthen support to Ukraine.
Let me finish, Prime Minister dear Fumio, by thanking you warmly for the admirable solidarity that Japan showed by diverting some of its LNG supplies to Europe. It was at a crucial time for us, at the height of the European heating season, and we will not forget this. This shows the power and the solidarity of democracies working together.
And joining me now from Tokyo for more on this is Michel Tsuruoka. He's an associate professor at Keio University and specializes in international security and European politics. Professor Tsuruoka, Japan and the EU have always been close partners, but what impact has 2 years of COVID-19 and the Ukraine war had on this partnership?
Okay, the Ukraine war has a lot of big impact on the EU-Japan relationship, which is seen as a sort of a catalyst for more contact and more closer coordination between the two. Because what we are seeing now is an unprecedented level of coordination and dialogue between the two partners, mainly on Ukraine, economic sanctions against Ukraine, but at the same time in the G7 context as well. Japan and the EU are the part of G7 process, and also in the context of G7, we have seen a huge number of foreign ministers meetings and summit meetings. So the level of coordination and cooperation between Japan and the EU, both bilaterally and also in the context of G7, has increased quite a lot.
Now, Prime Minister Kishida talked of the Ukraine war shaking the foundation of the international order, not only in Europe, but also in Asia. What does he mean by that?
Yes, what Prime Minister Kishida has been emphasizing is the fact that the European security and the security in the Indo-Pacific are indivisible. So there's a huge linkage between the two, and also particularly we need to prevent the change of status quo by force from taking place again in Asia. So that is why we should not allow the war in Ukraine as a precedent for another crisis or another invasion in the Indo-Pacific region. So that's what the Tokyo is very much focusing on right now in the context of the linkage between the two regions.
So in the context of this, is Tokyo essentially talking about Beijing and China's assertiveness in the region?
Yeah, that's what we are very much focusing on, because of geographical proximity and also the rising tensions in the South China Sea and East China Sea, and so that's what the Tokyo needs to address. So I think it's just natural for Japan to look at the linkage between the two regions and the linkage between Russia and China and the relations between the two countries.
Now, speaking of linkages, Japan, like Europe, has a very close trade relationship with China, but far difficult bilateral relations as compared to most countries in Europe. I wonder, therefore, where does the EU fit into Japan's strategy on that front?
In dealing with China, you mean?
Correct, yes.
In terms of dealing with China, China is a big neighbor, and China is really one of the most important trading partners for Japan. So the business community in Japan is very much interested in continuing business with China, of course, and that's also very much in Japan's national interest. But at the same time, we have a wide range of concerns about China. And in terms of dealing with various economic problems, then Japan needs to get other like-minded countries on board. So we very much cooperate with the United States, of course, but at the same time, the EU is a like-minded partner, sharing values and sharing various concerns about China as well. So that is why there is a growing interest in Japan in working more closely with the EU. So in terms of ensuring the market access, for example, or the treatment of private companies, investors in China, and the intellectual property rights and these issues as well. So we are increasingly interested in cooperating with Americans and European partners in terms of dealing with human rights issues and Hong Kong issues as well. So in the context of the war in Ukraine, those China-related issues are now seen as more invisible, but the challenges are there, and perhaps the challenges are increasing. So I think the fact that EU leaders visited Japan amid the war in Ukraine, I think it's a great demonstration that the Europeans are still very much engaged in the Indo-Pacific region, and so they're not forgetting the importance of this region. So that I think was a great, powerful message. So this week, actually, we also saw a visit by Finnish Prime Minister.
Right.
So this is sort of a return of in-person diplomacy. I think it's great after two years of pandemic.
Right. Pleasure talking to you. Thank you for bringing that perspective to us, Professor Michito Tsuruoka from Keio University. Thank you, sir.